Have you ever been talking to a girl and everything felt so good? She laughed at your jokes. She called you cute. She said she missed you. Then suddenly, boom, silence. One day she's sweet, warm, and close. The next, cold as ice. She reads your message, but doesn't reply. She takes hours to answer, or says, "I'm busy." And you're just sitting there, staring at your phone thinking, what the heck just happened? Let me ask you something that might shake your entire way of thinking. What if her hot and cold behavior has nothing to do with love at all, and everything to do with power? I'm serious. It's not random. It's not just her being confused. It's not because you're not good enough. It's because deep down, she feels safe to pull away when you chase. And when you chase, you give up control of the game. Let's paint the picture. You're a good guy. You like her. You care. You want things to work. So you do what you've always been told. Be nice. Compliment her. Show her attention. Let her know how much you like her. Sounds fair, right? That's what most guys do. That's what society teaches us. But here's the crazy part. The more you try to prove yourself, the more she starts to pull away. The more you give, the more she starts to feel like she has the power. And you're left feeling confused, anxious, and kind of empty. You replay your conversations in your head. Did I say something wrong? Was I too needy? Should I text again or wait? You start chasing clarity. You want answers. You want her energy back. But here's where most guys mess up. They try harder. They text again. They ask if she's okay. They explain their feelings. They double down to show they're serious. But guess what? Every time you chase, you teach her something. I will always be here, even when you give me less. You don't mean to do that. You just want connection. But what you're actually doing is giving away your value. You're placing her on a pedestal, and you're shrinking yourself without even knowing it. So, what do you do instead? You do something most men never even think of. You stop trying to fix her energy and start protecting your own. You become still. You stay calm. You return to your mission, your focus, your goals, your life. Because when a woman sends mixed signals, she's not always doing it to hurt you. Sometimes she's not even sure how she feels. Other times she's testing, subconsciously. She wants to see if you'll break, if you'll get emotional, if you'll fall apart just because she got quiet. But you don't fall apart. You stay still like a mountain. Because here's what nobody tells you. Mixed signals only confuse the man who depends on her for emotional security. When you've got your own foundation, her shifts don't shake you. You don't chase. You don't panic. You don't argue. You simply stay grounded. And that's what changes the entire game. Here's the deep truth. You must understand. Women aren't drawn to men who try to prove themselves. They're drawn to men who already know their value and don't give it away to earn affection. That's not cold. That's self-respect. That's peace. That's the power of detachment. It's not about ignoring her. It's not about being mean. It's about having such a strong inner world that her behavior doesn't control your mind. And you know what happens when she feels that? She starts chasing you. She wonders what you're doing. She remembers how calm you are, how rare you are. And suddenly you're the mystery, not because you played a game, but because you stopped playing hers. Now, The real question is, are you ready to stop reacting and start leading? The power of doing less and why it drives her wild. Ever noticed how some guys barely do anything? They barely text, barely talk, barely show interest, and yet women chase them like crazy? Meanwhile, you give your heart, your time, your full attention, and somehow you get ghosted? Sounds unfair, right? Feels confusing, feels painful, but here's the part that will make your jaw drop. Doing less can actually make you more powerful. Sounds weird? Let me explain. Why does doing less work? It's not about playing games. It's not about pretending you don't care. It's about understanding psychology. When something is always available, it becomes normal. It becomes boring. It loses its spark. Like a light that's always on. You stop noticing it. Now think about this. When you're constantly there, always texting first, always asking how she is, always making plans, what happens? You become predictable. You become easy to reach. You become expected. And what do people do with what they expect? They stop appreciating it. They take it for granted, even if it's full of love, even if it's good. Because the brain is wired to crave mystery, challenge, and discovery. The strange power of space. When you stop trying so hard, when you stop always being the first to reach out, when you give the conversation room to breathe, something shocking starts to happen. She starts to wonder, what's he doing? Why isn't he texting me today? Is he okay? Did I lose his interest? Who's he spending time with now? That silence you used to fear? Now it becomes a tool of attraction. Because silence, when used wisely, creates tension. Not anger, not fear, but curiosity. And curiosity is powerful. It pulls her thoughts toward you. It makes her miss the energy she used to take for granted. But listen carefully. This is not about ghosting. Let's make something clear. This isn't about vanishing. This isn't about playing hard to get. This isn't about punishing her. It's about doing something much deeper. You are showing her that your time is valuable. You are saying without words, my life is full. My days are busy. I have a mission. You are giving her the gift of space so that connection can grow naturally. And this changes the whole game. You go from being the guy who chases her energy to the guy who guards his own. Think about nature. Even the sun goes away every night. Even the moon disappears during certain phases. And yet we miss them. We wait for them. We appreciate them more. Because they're not always in our face. The same is true in relationships. Your presence has more power when it's not constant. Your attention becomes more meaningful when it's rare. Scarcity equals value. Doing less doesn't mean you don't care. This is important. Just because you're not constantly available doesn't mean you don't care. It just means you care about yourself too. You respect your peace. You protect your purpose. You're not glued to your phone. You're not begging for a reply. You are living. You are growing. You are becoming the kind of man whose energy doesn't need to be explained. It speaks for itself. And that's when she starts leaning in. She starts texting first. She starts wondering where you've been. She starts thinking about you, because now there's space for those thoughts to grow. You've shifted the power, not through manipulation, but by becoming a man who doesn't need her to feel full. And that's attractive. Ready for more? On the next stage, we're going to dig deep into one of the biggest secrets of attraction. Why making her your whole world is the fastest way to lose her. And how finding your life's purpose will flip the script forever. Why she loses interest when you make her your world. Have you ever felt like you were doing everything right? You texted her first. You told her how beautiful she was every day. You were always there when she needed something. You dropped your plans, your goals, your life, just to be near her. And still, she pulled away. She got cold. She sent mixed signals. And eventually, she vanished. Why? How can love turn into distance like that? The truth will shock you. Because sometimes the more you give, the more she pulls away. Not because you're not good enough, but because you made her your everything. She doesn't want to be your whole life. Let's get real. A woman doesn't want to be your full-time focus. Not the center of your world. Not the reason you wake up in the morning. That might sound romantic in movies, but in real life, it feels heavy. It feels clingy. It feels desperate. You see, deep down, she wants to be part of a man's life that already has meaning. She wants to walk beside you, not be the entire road. When you drop everything just to be with her, guess what happens? She starts to feel like your only source of happiness, and that's not attractive. That's pressure. Pressure kills passion. Imagine someone staring at you 24/7, asking, "Are you okay?" every 10 minutes, waiting for your every word, giving up their goals, friends, hobbies, just to sit next to you. At first it might feel sweet, but over time, it becomes too much. It makes you want to breathe. It makes you want space. That's exactly how women feel when you make them the center of your world. Love isn't supposed to be neediness. It's supposed to be a bonus, not your only fuel. You lose your edge when you lose your mission. Here's the hard truth. When you stop chasing your dreams, when you forget your purpose, when you give all your time to someone else, you lose something deep inside. Your energy fades, your confidence shrinks, your spark starts to die. And she can feel that. She might not say it, but she can sense it. She met a man who had passion, but now she sees someone who's orbiting her like a lost moon, instead of standing strong like the sun. And women are drawn to the sun, to power, to presence, to purpose. She wants to be with a king, not be the crown. A king doesn't chase love. He builds his empire. He leads his kingdom. He's focused, strong, centered. And guess what? Women love kings, not because they're cold, not because they're mean, but because they are whole. They don't need a queen to feel complete, which makes the queen feel lucky to be chosen. You don't win her heart by putting her on a throne. You win it by building a life she wants to be part of. Why emotional control makes you magnetic, not cold. Have you ever had a moment where you felt everything exploding inside you? You were angry, confused, maybe even heartbroken. She ignored your text. She canceled plans. She acted cold one day and sweet the next. And maybe, just maybe, you showed it. You got mad. You begged. You asked, "What's wrong?" Over and over again. But the more you chased her with emotion, the more she pulled away. Why does it feel like caring more pushes her further? Here's the hard-to-swallow truth. It's not that she wants you to be heartless. She wants you to be in control. She's watching what you do with your feelings. Most men think women want them to open up. And sure, sharing your thoughts is good. But what she's really paying attention to is how you carry yourself when things get hard. Do you fall apart when she pulls back? Do you react when she's cold? Do you chase when she goes silent? Or do you stay still? Do you breathe? Do you remain calm even when it burns? That calmness isn't coldness. It's power. It's control. It's the mark of a man who leads with his mind, not just his feelings. When you react, you give away power. Let's be honest. When you get angry at her for ignoring you, when you blow up her phone because she didn't reply, when you say, "I just want to know where we stand," after one off day, you're showing your hand. You're showing her that she controls your peace. And the moment she sees that, she knows she can pull your strings with just one message or one silence. That's when the game is over. Because now you're not leading with strength. You're chasing with weakness. She feels safe around stillness. A calm man is rare. Most men panic. They overthink. They beg. They lose sleep over her signals. But a stoic man, he stands still like a mountain. Even if she's testing him, even if she's sending confusing signals, even if she's being hot and cold, he watches, he observes. He feels everything, but he doesn't react to everything. That kind of stillness is attractive. It makes her feel like she's not dealing with a boy, but a man. Because if you can hold your own emotions, she'll trust you can hold hers too. Don't hide emotions. Control them. Now listen carefully. We're not saying to hide what you feel. We're not saying to lie. We're not saying to bottle it all up inside. We're saying, learn how to guide it. Feel the pain, but breathe through it. Feel the anger, but don't explode. Feel the sadness, but don't chase for comfort. Emotional control doesn't mean you're empty. It means you're strong. It means you're grounded. It means your emotions don't run your actions. You do. And that is what women feel in their bones. You become a storm anchor, not a storm yourself. When life gets messy, when she gets emotional, when things go sideways, she needs to feel safe. And safety doesn't come from sweet words. It comes from your presence. When you stay calm in chaos, she feels protected. When you don't flinch under pressure, she respects you more. When you don't get dragged into drama, she starts to trust you with her heart. Why? Because now you're not just reacting to her emotions. You're becoming a safe place for them. Silence can be louder than words. Sometimes the strongest response is no response. Not ghosting, not playing games, but simply choosing peace over panic. When she sends mixed signals and you don't chase, she starts to wonder, why didn't he react? Why isn't he begging? What's going on in his mind? And now, you flip the script. She starts chasing your calm. She starts craving your energy. She starts wanting to be part of that peace. Because now, you're the one in control of the game. In the next stage, we'll reveal a hidden truth most men never realize. How being slightly unavailable makes you rare, and why scarcity makes her value you more. Why being less available makes you more desired. Ever wonder why the shoes that sell out the fastest are the ones everyone wants the most? Or why that one restaurant with a long wait list feels so much more exciting? It's simple. What's rare becomes valuable. And guess what? The same rule works in relationships. If you're always there, always answering, always available, you don't feel special anymore. You feel expected. Let's talk about the secret power of scarcity and how being just a little less available makes her want you so much more. Always being there makes you easy to ignore. You think being kind means answering every text right away. You think being caring means saying yes every time she calls. You think being a good man means putting her first all the time. But here's what actually happens. The more you're always there, the more she thinks you'll always be there. And once someone feels that they can have you anytime, they stop valuing your presence. Not because they're bad people, but because that's how the human mind works. When something's easy to get, we stop appreciating it. And that's the danger of over-availability. Scarcity creates curiosity. When you're not always online, when you don't reply in seconds, when you're not at her fingertips 24/7, her mind starts wondering. Where is he? What's he doing? Why isn't he texting me back so fast? Who's he spending time with? She starts thinking about you more, not because you're ignoring her, but because you're not flooding her attention. Now you've created something powerful, mystery. And mystery leads to curiosity. Curiosity leads to attention, and attention becomes attraction. Your time should be earned, not given away. Look, your time is not free. Your focus is not cheap. Your energy is not something to just throw around. Your time is a gift, and when you give it to everyone all the time, it stops feeling like a gift. But when you guard your time, when you invest it wisely, when you let people earn your energy, they treat it like treasure. Women especially respect men who protect their time, because it tells her, this man has things to do. He has a purpose. He's not chasing. He's building. And that, my friend, is magnetic. Scarcity is not about playing games. Now let's make something clear. Being unavailable doesn't mean ignoring her to play hard to get. That's not what this is. This is not a trick. It's not manipulation. It's about genuinely living a life full of purpose, so that your time becomes naturally limited. It means you're working on your body, your goals, your skills, your peace, your mission. So when she texts you and you're not always free, it's not because you're pretending to be busy. It's because you are busy, and that truth makes your presence more powerful. You become a reward, not a backup plan. Think about it. Would you rather be the guy she texts out of boredom, or the one she gets excited to talk to? Would you rather be the guy she leans on when she has no one else, or the one she clears her schedule for? When your time is rare, when your attention isn't automatic, you become a reward, a choice, not a default. She starts to feel like she has to show up fully to earn your presence. And that changes everything. Because now you're not chasing her. She's working to stay close to you. Pulling back? No. Living forward? Yes. Let's be honest. You don't need to pull back on purpose. You just need to move forward with your life. Let her feel your absence by feeling your growth. Don't tell her, I'm going to focus on myself. Just do it. Let her see you rising. Let her feel your energy shift. Let her realize that your world is moving, with or without her. And when she sees that, when she feels that she's not the center of your world anymore, that's when she'll want to be in it more than ever. Why purpose makes you irresistible, even when she doesn't understand why. Have you ever noticed how women can't stop thinking about that one guy? The one who's too busy to chase them? Not rude, not cold, just focused, driven, in motion. She can't explain it, but she feels it. It's not the way he talks. It's the way he walks, with direction, with purpose. And that draws her in. Let's talk about why a man who's deeply focused on his mission becomes magnetic, even when he's not trying. You weren't born just to chase attention. Let's be real, man. You didn't come to this world just to answer texts. You weren't born to sit around hoping she replies. You have a bigger reason to be alive. And when you live with that kind of purpose, everything changes. She can sense it, even if she doesn't know what it is. She can feel it, even if you don't talk about it, because a man on a mission has a different energy. He's not needy. He's not restless. He's calm. He's focused. He's full. And that energy makes her lean in. A purpose-driven man doesn't need constant attention. You see, when you're building something, a career, a business, your body, your peace, you stop needing constant feedback. You don't need her to say, I miss you. You don't need her to text you, good morning, because you've got something bigger filling your soul. And here's the twist. That kind of man, the one who's full of purpose, is the one she misses most. Not the one chasing her, but the one chasing something greater. Purpose puts you in control. Think about this. When your day is full of meaning, you stop waiting around for someone to make you feel important. You wake up knowing what matters. You move through life like you're going somewhere. And when someone steps into your life, they feel that motion. They feel like they're entering a moving train, not a parked car. That makes them ask themselves, do I fit into his world? Am I ready for this pace? Now you're not the one trying to impress. They're trying to keep up. That's how purpose gives you quiet power. You become the mountain, not the wind. A man with no purpose changes with every feeling. Every emotion controls him. One minute he's happy, next minute he's chasing. Then he's angry, then he's desperate. But a man with purpose, he's like a mountain. Still, solid, steady, storms come and go. But he stays grounded. And women feel safe around that. Not because you're perfect, but because you're not shaken by every wave. Emotional control, the hidden power. She feels but can't explain. Ever been in a moment where everything's falling apart? And somehow, one guy just stays calm. He doesn't yell. He doesn't panic. He doesn't chase anyone down. He just breathes, watches, thinks. And everyone looks at him like, how is he so unshaken? That man, that calmness, it's not just power, it's attraction. Today we're talking about the quiet strength that women crave, even when they don't know why. The strongest men don't shout. Listen close. The loudest guy in the room isn't the strongest. The guy always texting, always reacting, always chasing, he's not in control. But the man who doesn't flinch, who doesn't beg for her time, who can sit in silence and be at peace, that's the man she remembers. Because he feels safe. He feels powerful. He's different. She tests you without realizing it. Here's something most men miss. Sometimes her mixed signals aren't about confusion. They're about curiosity. She's wondering, what will he do if I act cold, if I delay, if I push a little? Not to be cruel, not to play games, but because deep down she wants to know, is he solid? Can he handle the storm? If you snap, if you chase, if you panic, she sees it all. But if you stay centered, calm, cool, she feels it. And suddenly, her respect for you grows. Not because of what you said, but because of what you didn't do. Calm is rarer than good looks. There are millions of good-looking guys out there. Strong jawlines, fancy cars, nice clothes. But a man who can stay calm when his feelings get hurt, that's rare. A man who can breathe deeply instead of reacting fast, that's gold. Because calm shows strength. And women are drawn to strength in a way they can't explain. It's not about being cold or distant. It's about being in charge of you. Stop letting emotions control the wheel. Feelings aren't bad. But feelings should never drive you. You can feel jealous, but you don't have to act on it. You can feel sad, but you don't have to chase. You can feel anger, but you don't have to explode. Real power? It's when you feel everything, but stay grounded, like a tree in the wind. Leaves may shake, branches may bend, but the roots, they don't move. That's emotional mastery, and women feel it like a sixth sense. Silence speaks loud when you control it. Here's something that shocks people. Sometimes silence says more than words. When she pulls away, and you don't chase, she notices. When she sends a confusing message, and you don't bite the bait, she wonders, why isn't he reacting? That mystery, that stillness, it pulls her in. Because silence mixed with calm equals mystery plus strength. That combo is powerful. Never let a woman become your weather. One day she's warm, the next day she's cold. If you keep dressing your heart for her weather, you'll freeze one day and burn the next. But if you build your own inner climate, steady, warm, controlled, no matter what she does, you win. She sees you don't need her mood to feel okay. And ironically, that's what makes her want to be around you more. Because now, you don't need her. You choose her. And that's powerful. The scarcity effect. Why less of you means more to her. Let me ask you something strange. Have you ever wanted something more just because you couldn't have it? Like the last slice of pizza, the rarest card in the game, or that one girl who didn't give you attention like everyone else did. Now here's the twist. You can become that rare thing in her mind, but only if you understand the power of scarcity. And no, this isn't about ignoring her. It's about valuing yourself so much that not everyone gets your time. What everyone gets is what no one respects. Let's keep it real. If you're always texting her, always calling her, always available every second, You're everywhere. And what's everywhere? Air, water, grass. Important, yes. Valuable? Not exactly. Now think of diamonds. Gold. A rare comic. A legendary player's autograph. They're not everywhere. They're scarce, and that's exactly what makes them special. Scarcity triggers desire automatically. Here's what most guys don't realize. The human brain is wired to want what's hard to get. Not because we're childish, but because rarity tells our brain, this must be valuable. So when you're always chasing her, when you're always saying yes, even when you're tired, when you're always trying to prove you care, she doesn't mean to. But her mind says, he's always here. He'll always be there. I don't have to try. But when you're focused on your goals, when you're busy improving, when you don't drop everything just because she blinks, suddenly you become rare, and rare equals wanted. You can't be missed if you're always around. Imagine your favorite song. You play it every single day, 10 times, over and over. At some point, even your favorite tune starts to sound boring. Now, what if you didn't hear it for 2 weeks? And then suddenly, it plays. Boom. Goosebumps. Memories. Magic. That's how absence works. That's what space creates. If you're always in her inbox, always showing up, always dropping gifs and texts and memes, she can't feel the joy of missing you. And missing you is what makes her want you more. Scarcity isn't a game. It's a lifestyle. Let's get this clear. Scarcity doesn't mean acting cold. It doesn't mean pretending you're busy. It's not a trick. It's about building a life so full that you don't have to be available 24/7. You're at the gym. You're learning new skills. You're working on your craft. You're spending time with people who matter. Not because you're trying to win her attention, but because you matter. And when your time is truly limited, because you're living, she can feel that. And suddenly your yes means something. Your presence feels like a gift, not a given. Make her earn what you used to give away. Let's be honest. A lot of men give too much, too soon. Time, energy, attention. They hand it all over hoping it will buy love. But real love doesn't work that way. She values what she earns. She respects what she has to reach for. And she craves what's not just handed over. So stop giving away your time like it's candy. Make her meet you in the middle. Make her show up with effort too. That's not cold. That's balance. That's respect for yourself. You're not an option. You're a reward. Say this out loud to yourself. I am not here to chase. I am not here to beg. I am not here to prove I'm worthy. You are the reward. You are the rare thing. You are the man who doesn't need her, but can choose her. And when she feels that deep in her gut, she treats you differently, not with games, not with mixed signals, but with real respect. Next stage is where it all starts to shift, because we're going to talk about the hidden power of silence. Not ghosting, not ignoring, but true inner stillness. It's time to learn how saying nothing can say everything. The silent power. Why saying nothing sometimes says everything. What if I told you the loudest thing a man can say to a woman is silence? Not the angry kind, not the I'm ignoring you kind, but the deep, grounded kind that says, I'm not shaken, I'm not chasing, I'm calm. In a world where everyone's shouting for attention, your silence can become the most magnetic voice in the room. Let's break it down. She expects noise. You give stillness. When she sends that confusing text, when she pulls away after being warm the day before, when she suddenly seems distant, most guys panic. They double text. They call. They write essays explaining how they feel. She expects that. She's seen that before. But when you go quiet, when you don't bite the bait, when you don't try to fix or prove or explain, suddenly, she wonders what's going on. And now, you're in her head. Silence isn't weak. It's strength in disguise. Let's get something straight. Silence doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing the right thing, quietly. It means not reacting from fear, anger, or need. It means letting the moment breathe. You're not giving the cold shoulder. You're not playing games. You're showing that your mood doesn't swing with her signals, that you're not controlled by every little wave. You are still, you are solid, and stillness is powerful. Why silence makes her listen harder? Ever notice how when a teacher suddenly stops talking, the whole class goes quiet? People lean in, they listen harder, because silence isn't normal, it's rare. Same with her. When you don't reply right away, when you don't chase clarity, when you don't react to every emotional flicker, she starts to wonder, why isn't he reacting? Why is he calm? Does he not care? Or does he know something I don't? And just like that, you're no longer chasing her attention. She's chasing yours. Emotionally silent, not emotionally absent. Now hold up. Let's not twist this. Silence doesn't mean shutting off completely. It doesn't mean acting cold or distant forever. It means choosing peace over panic. It means listening more than reacting. It means understanding your emotions, but not letting them explode. You're not a robot. You're not stone. You're just grounded. And that quiet strength, that deep stillness inside, that's what makes a woman feel safe. Not just attracted, but safe. Let the storm pass without stepping into it. Mixed signals are storms. 1 minute, it's sunshine. Next minute, rain, thunder, confusion. Most men run into the storm. But the wise man, the grounded man, he waits inside. He watches the storm from the window. He lets the clouds pass. Because storms are temporary. But your peace, that's forever. When you're silent during chaos, you're unshakable. And that's rare. That's attractive. That's power. When words return, they hit harder. The beautiful part, after the silence, when you do speak, she listens. Why? Because you didn't throw words around like candy. You waited. You breathed. You stayed calm. And now your words carry weight. She knows you don't talk just to fill space. You speak when it matters. That's respect. That's power. That's control. You can't control her signals, but you can control your silence. Let her be unpredictable. Let her dance around with hot and cold moods. Let her send the mixed messages. You stay still. You stay focused. You stay calm. You don't play the game. You become the game. And silence becomes your greatest move. The final shift. from chaser to chooser. She's not the one holding the power? What if everything you believed, that you had to win her, impress her, keep her guessing, was actually upside down? This last page isn't about playing games. It's about flipping the script forever. It's time to go from being the chaser to becoming the chooser. Let's begin. You are not the applicant. You are the prize. Most men walk into relationships like job interviews. Am I good enough for her? Did I say the right thing? Will she like me if I do this? Should I change that? You're not applying to be in her life. You are the life she wants to be a part of. Let that sink in. A man with direction. A man with peace. A man who knows where he's going. He doesn't apply for approval. He extends an invitation, and only those who match his energy get in. Being the chooser means having standards. This isn't about arrogance, it's about clarity. Ask yourself, does she respect your time? Does she add peace to your world or chaos? Does she lift you or drain you? Does she honor your values or try to bend them? You don't have to say yes to every pretty face. You don't have to chase connection that costs your peace. The chooser is not desperate, he's selective. And women feel that. They respect that. They start asking, am I good enough for him? That's the shift. Let her mixed signals filter themselves out when you step into the chooser's mindset. Mixed signals lose their power. Why? Because you're no longer controlled by what she says or does. You're watching patterns. You're reading energy. You're trusting your gut. If she's hot one day and cold the next, you don't panic. You observe. And if the pattern keeps repeating, you walk away peacefully. Why? Because the chooser doesn't beg. He doesn't chase. He walks in purpose and only keeps what fits into his path. Your peace is your new compass. Forget chasing attention. Forget reacting to emotions. Forget fixing things that aren't yours to fix. Your new compass? Peace. If it brings peace, you move toward it. If it disturbs your peace, you move away. No anger, no games, just truth. And guess what? That's when the magic happens. When a man protects his peace, people respect him more. Women desire him more. And he respects himself most. The game changes when you realize you were the board. All this time you thought she was running the game. You thought you had to decode her signals, chase her approval, prove your worth. But here's the truth. She was never the game. You were the board. You set the tone. You define the rules. You decide who stays and who goes. And once you see that, you never go back to chasing. Because you don't need her to choose you. You need to choose you. Walk away. Without fear. Here's the last piece most men miss. You must be willing to walk away. Not out of pride. Not out of revenge. But out of love. For yourself. If she's unclear. If she's hot and cold. If she drains your spirit. You leave. Not because you hate her. But because you finally love yourself more than the attention. And that's real power. Your mission was never her. It was you. Here's the final truth. She is not the mission. She's a possible bonus. Your mission is you, your path, your growth, your peace, your power. Let her be curious. Let her wonder. Let her chase. You lead. Always. You don't have to prove yourself anymore. You don't have to play her game. You don't have to chase answers in her confusing signals. Because when you focus on your purpose, when you choose peace over panic, when you become the chooser, not the chaser, you don't just attract her. You attract everything that's meant for a man who finally knows his worth. Now, walk like it.